Week 8 of 16, and apparently my cat thinks he's a parrot. Stand by.
And action.
Apparently, I offended my parrot cat, and he has now left. Welcome back to RATTLECAN FAB Shop. I'm James, and as I mentioned in the cold open, this is week 8 of 16. We're halfway through the fall semester in 2022 in the computer-aided manufacturing / precision machining program that I am a part of. 8 weeks means we are also at the end of a term, and everything that entails, it's done. It's in the books. Finito. I'll talk about that a little bit more. So Saturday I did a lot of editing for you guys. Put out 3 videos on one day. Put a video out for the Fab Shop, like these videos. I put out what I did today at guitar building class over on the Guitar Restorations channel, and I also did an update video on the Sydney 20-inch bandsaw and some of the obstacles we are coming up against. Also, the weather has changed, and apparently I've got a frog somewhere in my pharyngeal area. So, man, what a week it has been. Let's see, Monday at Open Lab, I worked on this pin. This pin that fits on the inside of the movable vise jaw that retains my socket head cap screw, which fits into a vise nut, which I'll show all that in a minute. Anyways, there were some burrs on the inside of this jaw that I did not discover until I had the opportunity to try to fit this pin in there. And so it was some little diamond files and a stone, trying to get that pin to freely move in there. So the takeaway from that, I should probably do that type of stuff before it goes to heat treat, make life easier on myself. I had a little bit of time left over. Our vise base wasn't back from heat treat yet, so I had some time. So I went ahead and I ground out this this bench block. I made this last semester. I have a tendency to find castaways in our recycling buckets at work, and I just think there's a lot of learning to be done in there. And so I've got the blessing to go ahead and do that. So yeah, somebody had said that they were working on a bench block, and they said that they had ruined this part, and they were just going to start over. And I took it and I made it into a totally functional bench block within spec. And I might be biased, but the knurling on that is pretty damn nice. Tuesday is welding class, and we're doing TIG welding. We've gone from 1/8-inch plates down to 16 gauge. And the thing about TIG welding is you got to have clean, bright metal. You can weld it with all that scale on there, but it's going to look like poop. So I did something that I've not done before, and it was suggested to me because grinding those little pieces is a major pain. And so the thing that was suggested to me was perhaps I could sandblast it. So I did. I took this over to the sandblaster and got all of the goo off of it, and it welded better. Now, I don't think it welded as good as when you get in there with a flap disc and get it down there, but We just don't have the time, and we don't have the wherewithal, or the equipment to do all that. So the sandblaster seems to work okay. Yeah, so now I got to remember how to TIG weld again. Next up, I think we're going to have to do we're just going to do vertical. We're going to do vertical welding, downhill welding. Then we're going to do horizontal welding, and then we'll be back to making a pressure box, just like we did last time. So that'll be kind of fun. Tuesday, parts came back from heat treat, and this is what they look like when they come back. They're kind of crusty, and mine moved. I was pretty sure when I sent my stuff off to heat treat that stuff was pretty flat, and it spec'd out that way on the inspection table, and it came back. It was a little droopy on one end, and you'll see a little bit more. Some of the ears moved on it as well. Now, part of that could be residual stresses from manufacturing that came about when I released it, when we released the Kraken from the block, by hogging all of that stuff out. It could have moved just over time, and then on top of that, you're sending it to heat treat, and they just do some very unkind things to metal during heat treat. A couple of different cycles is how I understand it. And stuff moves, so you got to get it cleaned up, and then the rush is on because we have 2 4-hour sessions to get this done. And so it was a lot of thinking about what your next step is going to be while you're currently doing the step that you're doing, just trying to save some time. So Tuesday went okay. Wednesday afternoon we have math, and we're doing Trig. And Trig so far is a little easier than circles, than the plane geometry. Now we do get into some interesting stuff where we'll have pentagons and hexagons and octagons inscribed within a circle. But it's just plugging the formula in. The takeaway for me is that if I can figure out what the opposite and the adjacent angles are, I'm ahead of it. And then I have to figure out if the question is asking me for a factor or if it's asking me for degrees. And if I can figure those 2 kind of questions out, so far we're doing okay. And I had to go buy a new calculator because my calculator, picture here, developed a stuck key. And that's great if all you're wanting to do is press the number 1. And after some fiddle farting around with it, I couldn't get the key to stop pressing in from the front. So I went to take it apart, and the way the thing is put together, it's almost impossible to take the thing apart without breaking the circuit board. We may do a whole nother video on that just because I feel like I have to get something out of it. Then that evening in mechanical drawing and AutoCAD, we're continuing to look at prints on paper and trying to figure out how in the world to do that in the computer world. And let's see, do I have so like this little frog looking thing here on the bottom, that was a heap full of fun. And what I try to do is on some of these we have a video that we can watch that kind of talks us going through this. I try to make this thing before I even watch those videos to see if I can figure it out. And if I can get part way there, I think I'm at least on the right track. So then Thursday came. Thursday was the big day. I was able to sneak in a little bit early and start grinding away, and I'm pleased as punch to tell you that I got it done. There were 5 people in my class. There was 1 person that completed both assignments. It measured out fine. It was deemed acceptable and in tolerance. And that's, I mean, really in the machining world, that's all you can ask. You know, is it in spec? Does it conform to what the print says? And if it conforms to what the print says, then it's a send. And let it go. Now you can work on other things like, can you do it more efficiently? Can you do it quicker? You know, are there more elegant ways to do it? Ways that save time, ways that save wear and tear on tooling, you know, all of that. But, you know, at this level of the game, can you make it to the specifications in the print? And I did. There's other drama that goes along with this, but I just don't know that I'm going to go into it. And on the way home, I thought I would attempt to broaden my horizons with something from the 10W40 Brewing Company, or at least that's the label that they're doing. This was a poor choice. Just no. Part of that may be my diminished COVID tasting ability, but if it says there's coconut, I'm not into notes and hints of flavor. I want whatever you're supposed to taste like to hit me in the face like a ball bat. And this does not do that. So here's a couple of pictures of the finished grinding vise on our lovely 1950s style table. And I'm probably going to I'll just do a little short video on that later, just kind of explaining what it is and kind of the things that you have to do to make it, because I know that there are people watching this that aren't machinists and don't understand it. I'm barely a machinist student, so you know, if I can explain it to you in ways that I can understand, then you know there's a pretty good chance you can understand it too. So anyways, that was our week. I now have Tuesdays and Thursdays are no longer in class. I'm still probably going to go to open labs because I still got more stuff to do. I'll show you this picture. This is the inside of my locker. This is all stuff that has to be ground. I got work to do. So anyways, that's what I did this week in class. Monday, they're supposed to release the new schedule for the following semester, and then we will find out at least what our options are for taking classes next semester, because now the funnel is kind of tightening down in what we can do. And there are some classes that I'm going to try to save for the summer, because there's a couple of these classes, it looks like you can take these at any time. I mean, I have to take an arts and humanities because mine didn't transfer. I have to take an English credit because mine didn't transfer. Ridiculous. So anyways, we'll let you know what's going on with that next week. Anyways, if you've got questions or comments, put them in the comment section beneath the sermon notes. If you don't follow us on the Facebook or the YouTubes, you probably should. Subscribing's gooder. Sharing's gooder. Anyways, I'm James. You guys have a great week. Cheers. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend it here with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Here's one that you might enjoy as well. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that button, hit the bell next to it so that you get a notification when we drop a new video. If you've got comments, put them down beneath the sermon notes. And remember, if I can do it, you can do it. You guys have a great weekend. Cheers.